everyone. Welcome to the broadcast and happy Friday. I can't believe it's May already. It feels like the time is just flying by. But anyway, for today's live broadcast, we are going to be going over sublimation. So a couple weeks back, I think now is the last time we talked about sublimation. We were actually showing projects on how you can sublimate onto glitter flake so that you can then apply it to cotton garments. So a lot of people, whenever it comes to sublimation, they love the finish and the full color and opacity that you can achieve with sublimation. So much so that they want to be able to put it on different types of substrates aside from polyester. So if you're new to sublimation and not so familiar with it, there are specific guidelines that you have to follow. So one of those things being you have to apply it to 100% polyester, or it's not going to have that bright opacity that you can really achieve with sublimation inks. So people are looking for solutions to be able to utilize sublimation and the beautiful colors that you can achieve with it in the photorealism as well, because it can, I mean, there's just so much you can do with it artwork wise. An unlimited amount of colors. It's not expensive to be able to print onto it, and you have the ability to, you know, just achieve really photorealistic graphics as well. So that's why a lot of people like sublimation. And so the last time we talked about sublimation, we printed it onto glitter flake because glitter flake is the heat transfer vinyl solution to be able to heat apply or sublimate onto that product and then heat apply cotton products. So if you're looking for a solution to be able to still apply cotton, 100% cotton garments with sublimation, right now glitter flake is that solution from Stahls, and that is what we reviewed in the past. Today, we're going to be going over a little bit more in depth different things that you can do with sublimation besides just 100% polyester. We're actually going to be printing a 50-50 garment today, which is actually a very popular trend in retail. So I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like so that you can start offering this if you want full color graphics easily with sublimation. So I see some of you guys joining in. I am live through YouTube and Facebook. So thank you, Matt, for commenting in from Sweden, which is awesome. I always enjoy seeing where you guys are joining. Today, I want to know if sublimation is something that you are currently working with. There's different ways to get started with sublimation, and the most popular would be buying a desktop sublimation printer if you want to do it in-house. And I've always heard great reviews about Sawgrass desktop printers. They do 2 different sizes, and they just have really great sublimation inks. It's really great quality. So if you guys want to get started, that's one way. A second way is just ordering transfers, which is what I'll be utilizing, the method I'll be utilizing today because I don't have a sublimation printer here. And it's the easiest way to just upload my artwork right on Stahls.com, which I'll show you how that works. And then it come within a couple of days so that I can then heat apply it. If you're curious about what transfer paper we utilize, that is from our sister company, Transfer Paper Experts. And they do all things transfer paper, whether that's printing with a laser printer, an inkjet printer, just your standard desktop printer that you usually print on copy paper with, and then also sublimation paper as well. Right, so that's who we utilize for our sublimation paper. That's who we recommend so that you can get a really quality finish with your sublimation designs. All right, so if you're printing in-house, that's definitely where you want to source that. And then where you can order transfers is right on Stahls.com, which is the method that I utilize for this, which I'll be able to show you here soon. But before we get started, I just want to show you the sublimation process. And then we're going to do some mixed media with it and also apply it to a 50-50 garment so you can see how that looks. So before I heat press, I want to show you where I'm sourcing my sublimation garments because that's a key thing as well. There's so many different things that you can utilize when it comes to sublimation as far as hard goods go. But for apparel, a little, like, wires get crossed a little bit here. It's miscommunication because everyone just assumes you can do any 100% white apparel, which isn't necessarily correct. Reason being, there are brands out there such as who you're seeing here, which is Sublimation, and they are actually affiliated with LAT Apparel, so they're a really trusted brand. But they market and manufacture these specific polyester garments for sublimation because they withstand high heat. All right, so some common feedback that we get from customers is sublimation's great, but a lot of my 100% polyester garments are scorching or leaving heat print marks. And it's causing to give me a really nice print, but I'm compromising the finish of my apparel. So you want to make sure you're using the right apparel, and I highly recommend Sublimation because they're a quality product and I can sublimate on them without really having to worry about having a shininess on the garment that is ultimately going to leave a big box there, and it's not going to come off in the wash. All right, so let's go ahead and walk through the sublimation process, time, temperature, and pressure, and show you what the finished result looks like. All right, so I'm doing a mommy and me type application today. So this one says Mama's Mini, and for this artwork, all I did was actually took our CAD cut patterns and dropped it right into my design here. All right, and then I just found some free clip art to create a boutique style design for this apparel because it's really, really popular in retail. All right, so again, we are using the Sublimation. This one is the V-neck style in the ladies. All right, and then I'm just using a basic style t-shirt that is more of a crew neck cut for the youth. All right, so those are the two styles. Again, 100% polyester, sourced from Sublimation, and it's great and recommended for sublimation. All right, so I'm just gonna drop this right onto my platen, making sure that I'm getting nice and centered, and I'm still gonna follow those typical application instructions, and first being a preheat. All right, this just takes a few seconds, especially when I'm at such a high heat. But what the preheat is doing is getting out any moisture or wrinkles in the fabric that could cause the adhesion to not apply accurately. So I have the ladies tee on there right now. So I'm gonna grab the transfer for that garment and place that down here. Now, some people, they get a little worried here because the sublimation carrier is very soft and smooth. All right, I'm going to pivot my laptop here. It's soft and smooth, and it doesn't have a tacky carrier on it, which means it can move around very easily. Now, we do have solutions for this. There are tacking sprays out there that you can utilize so it doesn't move around on you, and you can also use an adhesive tape. So we offer a thermo tape that you can utilize. It can be heated up to as high as a temperature of 400 degrees. So if you're worried about using any of that other tape out there that's just for standard around the house stuff, the thermo tape is tested specifically for going under high heat. So check that out. That will help keep the transfer paper in place so that it's not moving on you and potentially causing a ghosting issue. All right, so I don't have any of that with me today, so we're just going to keep this nice and flat on here. I'm also going to grab a cover sheet to make sure that that's not moving around under there. And I'm just using craft paper for that application, and then I'm just gonna lock it down. So I have my temperature set at 385 degrees. All right, so I've tested our sublimation, and you can go upwards of 400. I will say different blank products require a different temperature. So make sure you're checking the specifications of the blank product that you're purchasing. But this one, I can apply at 385 degrees, and it's going to apply for a full 45 seconds for my dwell time. That is the exact application that's going to get a nice overall finish and quality look. All right, so you can actually see in these transfers that it's a very diluted type of color in there. All right, so in comparison to that, you'll be able to see how bright it actually turns out once it's heat applied. All right, so that's why people love sublimation so much. It becomes part of the garment, all right? So there's nothing actually laying on top of this like a heat transfer vinyl or a screen print. The inks, whenever they're activated, turn into a gas, and then they lock into the fibers of the substrate you're applying it to. So that's why it works with polyester, 100% polyester, the best, to get that overall bright finish and print. All right, so that is the first garment that we heat applied. Now we're going to pair the youth style, and these potentially could be sold as a bundle or package for like $40 for a mommy and me set. Right, so the reason these are so popular is because of, I feel like the trend really started in photography because people were getting pictures taken with their little ones. And then they just started doing apparel as well for those photography sessions. And then it just grew into this overall trend in retail. All right, so same step, same process. We're just going to lock that down, and then the heat press does the rest of the work for me. So my pressure is about at a medium. The medium is what I prefer, especially for these heat-sensitive fabrics, because it's going to avoid any high heat from actually scorching the garment. All right, so that's the overall finish. And the next application we're going to be doing is the 50-50 garment. So this is sourced from District. And the reason I wanted to test this out is because so many people are doing heathered garments that are a lighter color or a pure white like this, and doing it on a 50-50 so that it looks more distressed, which is a really popular finish to achieve in really any style of print. All right, so that one is complete. All right, so now we could sell these together as a package for like $40, depending on your demographic, obviously. So these designs were simply just created in CADWorks Live. And then I just uploaded them right onto the Stahls website. So I'm going to share my screen with you once more because I want to walk through the next design that we're going to be heat applying, because it is mixed media and it's a couple different steps. So again, we are applying it on the 50-50 t-shirt, but we're also going to be pairing a heat transfer vinyl in here. So you can see this gold piece within this design. That's where we're actually going to be dropping in CAD Cut Metallic after we apply the sublimation design. All right, so I created all of this artwork by just importing clip art and then dropping in a fill. All right, so any pattern that I actually was able to find this pattern free online, but I just went to texture and then chose a fill to fill in there, and then it filled in that pattern into my clip art. All right, so basic steps is just to go to File, Export whenever your design is done being created and you're ready to order a transfer or even print on your sublimation paper. But one step I need to make sure I'm doing is separating this piece of artwork from my original design so that I can cut this out in my heat transfer vinyl on my Cricut and then pair it with the sublimation transfer later at the heat press. All right, so whenever I export this design, I'm actually going to remove this because I don't want to layer my metallic over top of sublimation ink. So I'll just remove that real quick, go to File, Export, and then I'm just going to export this as a PDF. All right, that way it's reading all my vector art and my raster art in there, and the artwork on the custom uploader side, that process will go a lot easier. Right, so over on the Stahls website, all you have to do is go up here to Artwork Uploader and select Browse to Attach. That way you can just go and pull that exact design. Yes, I did spell piece wrong. All right, so once you're uploading it, it'll show you a little snip of what you uploaded just to make sure that you have the accurate design in there. And then you walk through basically what I call a questionnaire. You're just filling out a list of things so that we can pinpoint exactly what transfer type is going to be the best solution for what you are applying. So I'm going to select digital transfers and logos because that in our language is a full color digital type of transfer. We're going to be applying it to 100% polyester, a light fabric. No, I do not need a split front. And then it's going to let me know what products I have available to me to do full color designs with. All right, so the ones that are listed here, these are our printable vinyl and twills that we offer. Right, so there's a variety there, and then there's also the Sublimation Transfer. So it's again going to give me another image of what this looks like. Now I just fill out what width I want my transfer design to be printed, and then give it a name. So I'll spell peace right this time. All right, so peace, love, sunshine, vector, yes, and then if there's any specifications you want to make in notes, you can. Fill out your quantity, your contact information, hit submit artwork, and then within a few hours, you will get an approval from Stahls that they reviewed your artwork. And then at that point, you check out, and in a couple of days, your design will come to you ready to heat apply and cut down as well. So the exact size. So whenever I am considering, okay, even though I ordered this transfer, I still need to do some cutting on my end. So I need to make sure that I have the exact width of this heart from the fill that I had in my artwork originally. That's going to fit this exactly when I go to heat apply it. So back in CADWorks Live, I'm going to hit undo to bring that heart back up and then get rid of this stuff. All right, so at this point, I'll just go to File, Export, and export that as a PNG, and then upload it into Cricut Design Space, which you can see I already have done here. All right, so because that was the original design with that 10-inch width, it gave me the dimensions of 4.05 in width and 3.37 in height. All right, so I'm making sure that that's the accurate dimensions that it read to me in CADWorks Live as well. All right, so close enough there. That has 3.34, but still it's accurate and close enough to be able to drop that in after my sublimation transfer has been heat applied. All right, so at this point, all we have to do is go to Make It and make sure we are mirroring, because the product that we are applying requires that we mirror, right? And again, we are cutting CAD cut metallic in the color brown, right? Which actually looks like a rose gold to me. All right, so it's just ensuring that I have my mirror turned on and everything's ready to go. I am gonna turn fast mode on so the blade moves a little faster for me. And now I can hit the go button on the Cricut. Because it's such a small design, it's not going to take very long to cut. There's not a ton of detail in it or anything. All right. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Brian. Folks from Rocky Pine Designs. All right. Thank you guys for commenting in. So I asked earlier if anybody was using sublimation. I'm still curious if you guys are working with sublimation or not yet. Right, so I mentioned in the last, I think it was the last live or maybe the live before that, that I'm sourcing some of the random clip art that I use, such as the peace sign and the sunflower in here, to make sure that I'm not ripping off any designers or anything. I go to Pixabay, and that has commercial use clip art that you can utilize in your design creation. So that's where I am sourcing any of that random clip art that sometimes you guys will see in my designs. But we are still working in CADWorks to add more templates and designs for you guys to use as well. All right, I'm gonna grab my weeder and weed out the metallic. There we go. So yeah, this color in metallic is called brown, but it really resembles to me as a rose gold. I have a little piece sticking up there, so I'm gonna make sure I don't tear that off so I can just place it back down. So what I love about metallic is that it has that tacky carrier, so if something were to accidentally lift up, I can just put it right back in place. These are really thin lines. Whenever I originally tested the sublimation for this transfer, I originally filled the other heart in with foil, which looked really cool too. But metallic ultimately is longer lasting when it comes to washability. All right, so that's complete. And just to make sure, since this is mirrored, I'm going to turn it over. Just make sure we are filling in all those gaps, which is close. So what's nice is that this is a messy style heart, and so is this. So even if they don't match up exactly, it's okay because that's kind of the style of the design anyway. All right, so we are going to be, again, applying to a 50-50 t-shirt. So this one was sourced from District. We're going to see if it scorches. I haven't tested on this garment yet, but it does have a little bit of spandex in it too. So there's 5% spandex, and then the rest is cotton and polyester. So we're going to see how it turns out. I haven't tested this garment with sublimation yet, so it may work out just fine, but we will see. All right, and I always like to use craft paper whenever I am heat applying with sublimation because it's an easy throwaway and it's not expensive either. All right, so preheat. We're going to apply the sublimation first. And again, that is 385 degrees for 40 seconds. Let's see how it turns out. So some of the Facebook groups that I'm on that I follow just to see what people are doing differently with their heat presses, a lot of people are getting heathered 50-50 garments in light colors. So like heather gray, nothing dark because that is going to ultimately dilute or make your design look even more faded than it really is if you are going on a darker style garment. So if you are going to do 50-50, make sure it's a lighter type of garment so that ultimately it's not taking away from the elements in your design. Just some best practices that I picked up from that Facebook group. All right, so it still turned out really nice, even though it's a little bit faded. Now, when this washes, it might pull out even more. I'm not sure. So I guess I will get back to you on the wash testing that I do on this one and see how it's fading based off of how many washes it does. But I still feel like the detail and the colors still really pop on this garment. There's enough polyester in this tri-blend that it's still popping really well. Right, and it doesn't look like we're experiencing any scorching either. There is a little heat print mark just from the edges of the platen, but nothing that's ultimately scorching. That mark will actually come out whenever it's washed. All right, so now we're going to place the metallic in there. And I'm definitely going to use a cover sheet for this one because we don't want the ink to adhere to our upper heating element. And this is just going to apply for 10 seconds, and it's a cold peel. All right, and we definitely need to make sure this really cools down because if it doesn't, then it's going to be really messy because then we're at a really high temperature. Metallic is supposed to apply at 300 degrees and we're at 345, so, or 385. All right, so just putting it on my table to release some of that heat out of the fabric, and then we can peel back the carrier and reveal the finished product. But I think this is going to really take sublimation designs to the next level, being able to pair heat transfer vinyl, or if I'm using sublimation for the bulk of my design and I want to add personalization to it on the back with heat transfer vinyl, I can do that. There's just so many different ways that you can really upsell your sublimation products by incorporating CAD cut special effects. Right, and metallic obviously being a really popular style and finish in retail will only help to increase your overall profit opportunity. All right, so really great look and finish. If I wanted to, because this is looking a little distressed from applying 50-50, I could even apply this one more time and get some of that sheen out. So I am actually going to do that and make it a little bit more low luster and see if it will kind of blend with that design a little bit more. And I'm getting some wrinkling in the back of the design, so I want to make sure that comes out. I'm just going to hit that for a couple seconds. Doesn't take long to get that out. And now it's more of a low luster instead of a high shine, which I think pairs with the graphic a lot better. Right, so again, that is sublimation with CAD cut metallic on a 50-50 blend. Right, so if you're just joining, this is the 50-50 blend, and the result of sublimating that does have 5% spandex. I keep forgetting to mention that. And then this is the 100% polyester on the Subli. So that is the difference in sublimation and the vibrancy in your inks if you are going to be doing a lot of detail and vibrant colors in your graphics. All right, so Teresa says, sometimes 50-50 looks good, but when washed, the inks wash out. Yeah, so that is what I'm ultimately gonna try out with this one. So I'll let you guys know in the Heat Press for Profit Facebook group how this one turns out after I wash it so that you guys can ultimately get the best overall idea of how that's going to work for these types of graphics with a lot of cotton in it and not as much polyester. All right. And Laura says, I have sublimated on Glitter Flake and I have recently worked with another local shop to outsource some other small jobs. Awesome. So yeah, sublimation on Glitter Flake, we talked about a little bit in the beginning of the broadcast, but ultimately another popular way to get sublimation onto other substrate types so that it's not always 100% polyester. All right, and do you sell the sock inserts used in sublimation? We do not, but I think Condi is a good resource for that. I believe they do like a wooden template to insert into socks so that you can sublimate on both sides of the socks. Right. All right. It looks like everybody's kind of just getting started with sublimation. Some people haven't tried it. All right, so if you are wanting to try it, again, super easy to just order a transfer real quick and try it out. But I definitely encourage you, because it is a very popular print method and a lot of shops are using it as their core print method. Definitely mix it up with some CAD cut heat transfer vinyl. That way you can reach the market in a different way, just because it's really popular in the print industry. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you guys again on Monday. Just an update on our Making It Together broadcast. We are going to be changing the schedule around a little bit. So next week, we're going to be going 3 days a week as opposed to every day. So we're going to be going at 11 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's going to be a mixture of Josh and I. So we'll still be feeding you content throughout the week. We're just dialing it back by 2 days. So Making It Together broadcast still going on. I'll be back again on Monday, and we'll be on Wednesday and Friday moving forward. All right, so thank you guys so much. Make sure you're staying safe out there, and I will see you next week. Have a great weekend.